Hello and welcome. Tonight, Kwara State Governor briefs President Bola Tinubu on the killings in Kaiama local government that claimed at least 75 lives. Governor Uba Sani receives all 183 persons abducted from Kajuru 2 weeks ago after security forces rescued the remaining 89 victims. Very respected woman. That's how President Donald Trump described Nigeria's First Lady, Remi Tinubu, when he singled her out at the 74th National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C. And British Prime Minister Keir Starmer apologizes to Jeffrey Epstein victims for trusting Mandelson and nominating him as UK ambassador to the United States.
And on business, global oil prices fall around 3% after U.S. and Iran confirm talks, easing geopolitical risk.
On sports news tonight, Chippa United confirmed departure of Super Eagles' first-choice goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali by mutual agreement.
And from the nation's capital, Independent National Electoral Commission registers 2 new political parties, bringing the total number to 21.
Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak has been briefing President Bola Tinubu on the killings in Wuro following the attack by terrorists which led to the death of 75 villagers in Kaiama local government in Kwara State. Speaking with journalists after the meeting at the State House, the governor explained he also came to thank the president for the prompt action already taken to establish Operation Savannah Shield.
I came to brief Mr. President about what happened in Kaiama local government of Kwara State, and also to thank him for the prompt action taken by the president by establishing Operation Savannah Shield. That will go a long way in deterring and bringing calm to the region in Kwara State. After meeting the president, I'm confident because as I speak to you, the first commander for Operation Savannah Shield has reported in Kwara State, Ilorin, today. And is hitting the ground running, and we rely on the military to do what they do best. Mr. President has directed the armed forces to move in and to clean out the place and make sure peace and calm is restored.
Now, earlier, the Kwara State governor had visited Wuro community to see things for himself, even as he expressed sympathy over the attack that has now left the community deserted and in ruins. The Emir of Kaiama confirmed that the victims killed were given a mass burial, while some families opted out, taking away their affected loved ones.
It's not the metaphorical stone-throw journey. It took the governor and his entourage 6 hours to get to Kaiama local government in Kwara State. It was dark when they arrived, even as the Emir of Kaiama shed light on the dastardly attack by terrorists.
Very unfortunate that we lost a very large number of people. I think this one was the largest massacre in Nigeria at the same time, if I can remember. By our count, at Sibika in the morning, 75 people were identified and given mass barrier. This excludes the Christians who are taken away, the Yorubas who are taken away, and some corpses are seen in the bush that are not yet. So the figures is likely to go up. If you go to war now, they say, go sit down, everybody has deserted the whole place. All like this and yesterday, it was just like a war. Not a killing, the massacre, because it's only one side that was killing the only. So we lost a large number of people, and a lot of people have been kidnapped, mostly women and children, taken to the bush. To know for what purpose. They gave us a notice that they are coming to preach, and nobody objected to it, only to find out that they, instead of coming to preach, they are coming to massacre. We believe that this solution can be revised, and that if we have a military basis, let's say FOB, public wide, on Woro or Azik, Nanu, and all the rest. These people are at the edge of the national park, very large, more than Zimbabwe, the one in Borno State. And it's very porous, very empty, and it's habitat-free. But they want a consolidated and comprehensive native outfit involving Kwara and Niger that can output them. They have actually taken over the whole country. And unfortunately, some of our boys, some of our people from the Bogu area, they've joined there now in the system, and it's making it very difficult to monitor. They are the informants, they are the participants, they are the victims.
The chairman of Kaiama local government area has a gory tale to tell, a horror story of killing, abduction, and a chronicle of despair.
I'm a medical person. I have never seen corpse like that in my life. To count up to 75 corpses that we saw, aside those that got burnt, unidentified. As we speak, there are still corpses in the bush because they are ambushing them. They ambush them in the village. This is the village head, sir, Your Excellency. As they came to Oro, they went to his house straight. It means we have bad eggs among us who are giving the information about our communities. They got there, they asked for key of his cars, they vandalized his 2 vehicles, they burnt his house. His kids, there's a girl, his firstborn is a male, the sister, the secondborn is a woman. The 2 of them just finished medical schools. And of course, they brought them out and killed the 2 of them.
The governor and his team then proceeded to Woro community for another 2-hour journey, where the incident occurred for an on-the-spot assessment. Visible signs of the mayhem stare you in the face. Some of the structures are still burning.
Pure madness. May the soul of the departed rest in peace. We can see issues of ideology, religious ideology. The citizens here resisting the sort of ideology that is alien to them. 75 have been buried, and we're short of words, but we thank the security agencies for their work. Also commend the president for deploying the troops. A new battalion coming in here, a new operation, Savannah Shield, will take over from the southern axis of the Operation Fasanyama. So things will certainly get better here.
Many members of the community have been abducted, while the search for more bodies is still ongoing.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kellogg, has ordered the immediate deployment of tactical and intelligence assets to Kaiama local government of Kwara State to help boost security and prevent further violence. In a statement signed by the Force Public Relations Officer, Benjamin Hundein, the IGP describes the incident in Woro as deeply painful and tragic, while assuring citizens that the perpetrators will be apprehended. The statement explains that while the Niger police strongly condemns the attack in Woro community, the IGP extended its heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims, as well as to the government and people of Kwara State, reassuring the public that the police remain steadfast in its responsibility to protect lives and property. Away from the violence in Woro community, and there's more reason to be joyful in Kaduna State, at least for the families of those concerned, and in a happy turn of events. The last group of victims kidnapped during a tragic attack on a village in Kurminwali has been freed. Their release comes 18 days after they were taken during the church service on January the 18th this year. Following the rescue operation by security forces, the survivors were welcomed back by state government officials at the Sir Kashim Ibrahim Government House under the watchful eye of tight security, where Governor Uba Sani received them.
The atmosphere at the Sir Kashim Ibrahim Government House in Kaduna State is one of relief and joy as all the abducted victims of the Kurminwali abduction arrive the complex, accompanied by operatives of the Department of State Services. The victims who were abducted during the violent attacks on Kurminwali community on January 18 were immediately given medical attention upon arriving the Kaduna State capital. Among the victims are women, some of them pregnant, children, nursing mothers, and even infants within breastfeeding age. They appeared visibly exhausted, but relieved to be freed after days in captivity. After the necessary medical checks, they were formally received by Governor Uba Sani amid cheers from the excited victims. Addressing the victims, the visibly elated Governor Uba Sani commends security agencies for their efforts in securing the release of the abducted persons, reassuring citizens of his administration's commitment to protecting lives and property.
The State government have worked tremendously with the security agencies to ensure that we protect our state, protect our citizens' lives and properties.
The governor speaks on the number of victims rescued, stating the importance of having a military formation in Kurminwali to boost security. He also pledges to address infrastructure deficits in the community.
Here we have 172, but the numbers that were adopted at the beginning were 183. 11 were the first people that came back, and we took them straight to the hospital. I'm happy to announce that all of them have been certified medically fit.
Some of the victims and religious leaders expressed gratitude to the government for the freedom of the victims. They call for intensified efforts to prevent future attacks.
May God bless him for the great thing he has done for us, for rescuing our lives, for saving us.
We are grateful to His Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, who, with his team, has worked assiduously with the security agencies to ensure the safe return of these people that were unfortunately taken away.
While the safe return of these kidnapped victims brings relief to their families and the Kaduna State government, residents are hoping for increased military intervention in vulnerable communities in the area.
The Defense Headquarters has clarified the alleged deployment of U.S. troops as it insists that Nigeria's security partnership with the United States primarily focuses on capacity building, professional military education, intelligence sharing, logistics support, and strategic dialogue aimed at addressing shared security concerns, including terrorism. This clarification is coming on the heels of several reports that U.S. troops had been deployed to Nigeria. In a statement signed by the Director of Defense Information, Major General Samaila Uba, the Defense Headquarters states that all engagements with the United States are conducted with full respect for Nigeria's sovereignty and existing bilateral frameworks. Very respected woman. That's how U.S. President Donald Trump described Nigeria's First Lady, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, when he singled her out for recognition at the 74th National Prayer Breakfast in the U.S. capital, Washington, D.C. The annual event, attended by members of the U.S. Congress, religious leaders, and international guests, featured President Trump recognizing Mrs. Tinubu in the audience as he addressed attendees on matters of faith and global religious freedom. Although the cameras did not get the reaction of the First Lady or that of the crowd, President Trump made no bones about describing Mrs. Tinubu in glowing terms.
But we're honored to be joined today by the First Lady of Nigeria, who also happens to serve as a Christian pastor at the largest church in Nigeria, a very respected woman. First Lady, please, where are you? Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Very respected person, too. Thank you.
In part two, after the break, 50 years after his assassination, the vision of former head of state Murtala Muhammed for a truly independent Africa is brought to the fore at a public discourse. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you have just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Kwara State Governor briefs President Bola Tinubu on the killings in Kaiama local government that claimed at least 75 lives. Governor Ubasani receives all 183 persons abducted from Kajuru 2 weeks ago after security forces rescued the remaining 89 victims. Very respected woman, that's how President Donald Trump described Nigeria's First Lady, Remi Tinubu, when he singled her out at the 74th National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C. And British Prime Minister Keir Starmer apologizes to Jeffrey Epstein victims for trusting Mandelson and nominating him as UK ambassador to the United States. Present global challenges have put Africa in a position where it has to ask itself the pertinent question of whether it has come of age. A vision prophesied by late Nigerian head of state, General Murtala Muhammed, during his speech at the extraordinary summit of the Organization of African Unity in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, asserting that Africa would no longer take orders from foreign powers, particularly regarding the Angolan liberation struggle. 50 years since his assassination, the Murtala Muhammed Foundation has held a strategic policy workshop commemorating his famous speech. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, reports.
A bold Pan-Africanist, one who gave Nigeria a respected voice in the campaign for the liberation of African countries. These are some of the words that describe the late head of state, whose picture with former Nigerian Minister of External Affairs, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, is boldly displayed by the Director General of the Institute during his welcome address.
To say Africa has come of age is actually to put on the stamp the meaning of strategic autonomy.
Chief Executive Officer of Murtala Muhammed Foundation, Dr. Aisha Muhammad Oyebode, says the nearly 25-year-old foundation established in her father's honor is now committed to situating his legacy in today's global challenges.
My father is remembered today as a bold Pan-Africanist. He articulated and pursued a very assertive foreign policy that gave Nigeria a respected voice in international relations. Thank you so much.
The day's keynote speaker is Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, who at the age of 33 was appointed Director General of the NIIA by General Murtala Muhammed in 1975. His address is a reconnection of anecdotes of his interactions with the military head of state until his appointment and the impression it made on him.
Even though this picture showed the general coming here on the platform of the Supreme Military Council, but for some reason, it's like it became symbolic of what people regarded my relationship with him.
The rest of the program is made up of conversations surrounding Nigerians' perception of their identity and a panel discussion on the theme, Has Africa Come of Age? Murtala Muhammed's Pan-African Vision 50 years after.
Was that time of Nigeria, when Nigeria was all over the place, when Nigeria can actually be a big voice in the international system.
Africa has come of age. It is no longer under the orbit of any extra-continental power.
The NIIA serves as a repository for reviewing the late General Murtala Muhammed's 200-day administration impacts on African diplomacy and to project the glories of Nigeria's foreign policy. Amarachi Ubani.
Now, re-echoing the thoughts of the Murtala Muhammed Foundation on Africa's liberty, the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, believes the continent cannot become truly sovereign and independent if it continues to depend on handouts. Mr. Kagame made this statement during the 20th edition of the National Dialogue in Kigali, the capital of Rwanda. Our correspondent, Dele Omoyeni, reports from Kigali.
Umushikirano means national dialogue, and it's a day set aside for Rwandans to share ideas, ask their leaders questions that hold them accountable for government policies in order to make national progress. The 20th edition of the dialogue is led by the President, Paul Kagame, with cabinet members, parliamentarians, members of the country's judiciary, civil society organizations, Rwandans in diaspora, the diplomatic corps, as well as the media in attendance. In his principal address, President Kagame says Africa can only be truly independent and sovereign if Africans are empowered to stop the dependence on handouts.
Avoid depending on the pity of people here and there, hearing that this person has had pity on us, but then when they change course, this would have an impact on us. So sovereignty and independence, true independence and true sovereignty is our objective. The objective of each and every one of us.
He also insists that despite the odds, Rwanda will continue to pursue peace with its neighbors, Burundi and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
My answer, simple answer, which says everything, has always been, if you ask me whether we are in Congo, do you first ask yourself, why would Rwanda be in Congo? Then you would get the answer without asking me. If you ask yourself that this Rwanda, which is accused of being in Congo, why this accusation? First of all, it is not about minerals. That one is aside, for sure.
In the president's address at this edition, while he says his government will continue to ensure that more people are brought out of poverty, he says the true independence of the country is its ability to ensure that its citizens are economically prosperous. He also mentions the issue of security, especially with its neighbors, Burundi and DRC, and he says his government will continue to pursue peace and understanding amongst his neighbors. From the Kigali Convention Center in Rwanda, Dele Omoyeni for Channels Television News.
Now let's head to the nation's capital, and of course, Terry Kumi is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Terry.
Well, thank you very much, Ayo. Well, back home, Nigeria's electoral umpire, INEC, has approved the registration of 2 new political parties following the conclusion of its statutory assessment process and compliance with a court order. Speaking at a consultative meeting with political parties in Abuja, INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amupitan announced the registration of the Democratic Leadership Alliance, DLA, and the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC. The registration now brings the number of registered political parties to 21.
This is the first meeting of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission with leaders of political parties since he assumed office. The meeting is holding ahead of key electoral activities, including the Federal Capital Territory Council elections, the Ekiti and Osun State governorship elections, as well as the preparation for the 2027 general elections. Leaders of various political parties are attending the meeting, including the Murtala Muhammed Caretaker Committee of the People's Democratic Party and the Nana Usman-led Labour Party.
16 local government areas of the state.
The crisis trailing the leadership of several political parties is a point of concern for the INEC chairman, as he fears the legal battles may derail the electoral process.
INEC is committed to providing seamless, pleasant voting experience by removing barriers in the ballots. However, the Commission cannot do it alone. I call on the political parties to partner with us by upping the ante in voters' education and mobilization.
The INEC chairman also announces the successful registration of 2 new political parties.
14 associations that satisfied the initial pre-qualifications were invited to proceed to the next stage. Of these, 8 successfully uploaded their documents on the Commission's dedicated portal. After due consideration, only the Democratic Leadership Alliance was found to have complied fully with the requirement of the law. The Federal High Court ordered the Commission to register the National Democratic Congress as a political party. The Commission has decided to comply with the order, and the party is being registered as a political party. Certificate of registration will be handed over to the 2 new political parties in due course.
In his response, the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Mr. Yusuf Dantali, urges political parties to make use of the Council's alternative dispute resolution mechanisms to resolve disputes.
IPAC urges political parties to uphold internal democracy and strictly comply with their constitutional provisions in the nomination of candidates and changes in leadership. There must be no room for imposition of candidates or unlawful tenure elongation in violation of party constitutions.
INEC also assured the parties that all is set for the conduct of the FCT area council elections on February 21st, 2026.
The FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has refuted claims of compromising the judiciary through the provision of housing scheme for judges and heads of courts in the nation's capital. Speaking after inspecting the ongoing construction of housing projects in the FCT, Mr. Wike believes that the provision of housing scheme for judicial officers will not compromise the judiciary's independence, stating that it will help them carry out their jobs effectively. The ongoing construction includes a total of 40 residential houses, 20 for judges of the FCT High Court, 10 for judges of the Court of Appeal, and 10 for judges of the Federal High Court.
We're constructing 40 residential houses, 20 for FCT High Court, 10 for the Court of Appeal, and 10 for the Federal High Court. We'll soon start the one of the Industrial Court. Of course, in such structure, if you're happy, and it's president this well for the third arm of government, which is the judicial sector. That's what you will do that critics will not criticize. Before now, that care is not taken for the third arm of government. Before that, they say, look, judges have nowhere to stay to carry out their job efficiently and effectively. Now you are providing it. It becomes an attempt to buy them. How many people can you buy over? So those tertiary models, Mr. President means well for the judicial arm of government, which is very, very key. You can't talk about democracy without talking about the judiciary. You can't talk about them doing their work when they cannot have befitting places to stay. So even if, for example, you give them the funds directly, you are the one still providing the funds. Every arm of government depends on the executive to provide the funds. So all these allegations of you are doing this to buy this, let it be provided first before we talk about who is buying who and who is not buying who.
Still ahead on the news at 10, global oil prices fall around 3% after US and Iran confirmed talks, easing geopolitical risk. That's on business news. Please stay with us.
Our website, channelstv.com, has more information on our top stories and others. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. You can also watch us via your smart TV platforms on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku. Channels Television, ubiquitous.
Welcome back to the news at 10. The coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammed Pate, has witnessed the official launch of Empower Academy Nigeria in Abuja, describing it as a strategic national platform to accelerate skills development and unlock Nigeria's healthcare value chain. Speaking at the event, Professor Pate said the initiative reflects President Bola Tinubu's vision under the Presidential Initiative for Unlocking the Healthcare Value Chain to reposition Nigeria as a manufacturing hub while creating quality jobs for young Nigerians. Our correspondent Victoria Longjohn reports.
It's the official launch of the Empower Nigeria Academy in Abuja, and the coordinating Minister of Health, Professor Muhammed Pate, is here to witness the event. The Academy, a vision under the Presidential Initiative for Unlocking the Healthcare Value Chain, PVAC, aims to expand access for young talents nationwide and address the country's critical gap in industry-ready professionals, especially in pharmaceutical manufacturing and life sciences.
The possibility of an exciting future, repositioning Nigeria on the African continent for its own people, but also on the global stage. What we're doing here is world class. And I believe this is just the beginning. And that's why when the president lists the renewed hope agenda, it's not just a political slogan. There's a vision and there is an expectation that there's a different reality that you have to imagine and then walk the path to realize it. Nigerians will see that this vision is real, and that Nigeria can be a manufacturing hub, can unlock the healthcare value chain, can create jobs, quality jobs, not any job.
Courses at the Academy will be offered free to qualified Nigerians for the next 2 years, and the curriculum is designed to be practical, realistic, and industry-driven.
The first phase, which we are launching today, the virtual platform, is going to provide about at least 40 different courses, ready-to-use courses. And Honorable Minister, these courses are going to be free of charge to all Nigerians for the first 2 years.
Conventional vision and national goals of becoming self-reliant for medical and pharmaceutical products in the country and on the continent is at risk unless we're able to work with a workforce that is talented.
The Academy, unveiled as a phased program, beginning with a digital learning platform, will expand into hybrid innovation hubs and permanent world-class training centers in partnership with universities and research institutions. From Abuja, Victoria Longjohn, Channels Television News.
Well, that's all from the nation's capital. The rest of the news continues from Lagos with Ayo.
Thank you so much, Terry. Kellogg's, the world's renowned manufacturer of breakfast cereal and convenience foods, says its Superstar Scholarships Competition 7.0 is an initiative to once again bring out the best academic expressions out of Nigerian children and motivate them to reach their peak in creative writing and personal experiences. The company says the academic contest is organized for children from ages between 5 and 12 years, and this year's topic is My Superstar Journey.
The 7th edition of Kellogg's Superstars Scholarship Competition draws to a close as winners are handed checks by the organizers of the event. A historical day for these children who have the presence of management of Kellogg's, special guests, as well as parents who serve as an inspiration to their children at this stage of the contest.
We at Kellogg's, we are known for one basic thing, bringing out the best in kids. And today is an opportunity for us to select and celebrate with kids who are not just kids, but exceptional kids. And now the work and responsibilities of all of us here to help them achieve their dreams.
The initiative, which started in 2019, is being used by the sponsor Kellogg's to boost the academic morale of children across Nigeria in line with this year's topic, My Superstar Journey. Some of the special guests speak on the importance of the competition and appreciate Kellogg's for the good gesture.
Thank each and everyone that has been able to make it down there. And we have to give a big kudos to Kellogg's. They've been wonderful, they've been consistent. 7 years, it's not an easy thing to do consistently.
And they grow up, they always remember, oh, that day when I won the Kellogg scholarship award, mommy was there, or daddy was, and they will remember they carried double, and that will determine how they equally respond to you.
Participants submitted 5 different Kellogg wrappers and uploaded their essay online for a chance to win one of 150 scholarships worth 150,000 naira each, as this final affords the children the opportunity to bring their intellectual ability to the forefront.
Are the new ingredients for success? A journey still unfolding as I strive to inspire and reach greater heights.
I will work hard and try to achieve my dreams of being a medical doctor, and my family always encourages me, so I know I will make it to be a true superstar.
As a brand, we've been very, very fulfilled, seeing kids grow from strength to strength, express themselves. Based on our own involvement with their lives, it's been joyous.
We think this is a good development to ensure that children start dreaming big, even where they are. I mean, when I was younger, this opportunity was not readily available.
Kellogg says this year's edition is another evidence of the brand's commitment to the intellectual development of the Nigerian child, as 150 of them go home with scholarships worth 150,000 naira.
Stanbic IBTC has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting clients as they navigate Nigeria's economic landscape and make informed business and investment decisions in 2026. The chief executive of Stanbic IBTC Asset Management, Busola Jajalowo, made this known at the launch of the bank's 2026 Economic Outlook in Lagos. The event featured renowned economist Professor Biodun Adedipe, who projected Nigeria's economic growth at up to 4.5% in 2026, highlighting strong opportunities across key sectors including energy, agriculture, manufacturing, and the digital economy.
Beyond the numbers, turning 2026 trends into financial success sets the tone for Stanbic IBTC's Regional Economic Outlook, bringing together clients and stakeholders to examine the forces shaping Nigeria's economy in the year ahead. The event is designed to help investors and businesses look beyond headline figures, understand underlying economic drivers, identify emerging opportunities, and position for sustainable wealth creation in 2026.
While signals of stability, such as moderating inflation and improved foreign exchange conditions, are encouraging, the real opportunities lies in the understanding of the structural trends, policy, direction, sector-specific dynamics that will define financial success in the year ahead.
In his presentation, renowned economist Professor Biodun Adedipe notes that despite global disruptions and economic realignment, Nigeria ended 2025 on a stronger footing, with steady growth, moderating inflation, improved foreign exchange stability, rising capital inflows, stronger reserves, and renewed investment confidence. He forecast a 4.5% GDP growth in 2026, driven by reforms, diversification, and easing monetary policy.
You find that every notable enterprise that is doing outlook on the Nigerian economy is expecting growth this year, stronger than 2025. What does that mean? It means you should also expect and plan to grow your business. But what it also means is this: on no account should your business grow slower than the Nigerian economy. That's one. Then we look also at the stock market. That last year, if your investment mimicked performance of the Nigerian stock exchange, then it must have produced 51.19% year-to-date return.
The discussion continues with a panel session as industry experts offer practical insights and respond to questions on navigating risk, seizing sector-specific opportunities, and leveraging Stanbic IBTC's advisory and investment solutions to build long-term value.
There are about 15 mutual fund products of various risk appetite for the customer. For as low as 5,000 naira, you can invest in a mutual fund consistently. After this is for us to follow up with our clients based on the feedback that we have been given today. Also follow up based on the questions that we have also answered today, just to ensure we're able to just provide the right solution for them and answer their questions far beyond what we saw in this room.
Stanbic IBTC says the initiative reflects its belief that informed clients make better financial decisions and underscores its role as a trusted partner in navigating Nigeria's changing economic environment.
Zenith Bank is strengthening its footprint in Akwa Ibom State with major branches strategically located in Uyo and other key urban centers. The latest addition is the newly inaugurated ultra-modern branch on Wellington Bassey Way, further expanding access to corporate and retail banking services.
Located on plot 27 Wellington Bassey Way, Uyo, this latest branch of Zenith Bank PLC raises the number within the Akwa Ibom State capital to 5, and its proximity to the government house is seen as an added advantage. The Group Managing Director, CEO, Zenith Bank PLC, Adaura Omeoji, is grateful to the Governor for his support in making this a reality.
I want to assure Your Excellency and distinguished stakeholders present today that Zenith Bank will continue to partner with Akwa Ibom State Government in its drive to create lasting impact and meaningful progress for the people of this great state. We are not just here to do business, we are employers of labor. And we are fully committed to supporting businesses across the state with our wide range of bespoke products and services designed to cater for every segment of the society.
Executive Director at Zenith Bank, Akin Ogunranti, promises excellent services to all customers.
Your Excellency has been very supportive of our bank since assumption of office, and these footprints that you see today again is a testament to the commitment that Zenith Bank has to Akwa Ibom State and the good people of Akwa Ibom. We have enjoyed tremendous hospitality from the people of Akwa Ibom, and for this reason we would like to say a big thank you to the entire people of Akwa Ibom State.
Zenith Bank PLC is a major financial services provider in Nigeria and Anglophone West Africa, headquartered in Victoria Island, Lagos. The Akwa Ibom State Governor appeals to the commercial bank to continue to maintain this exalted position in the banking industry.
Speaking of Zenith, you know you are one of the banks we respect, not just as a state, but I'm sure Nigerians respect Zenith for your integrity, your excellence, and all of the things you do.
The lender has a strong presence in Akwa Ibom State with key branches focused in the capital city of Uyo and major urban areas where it provides corporate and retail services.
More business news now with Will Ibom. Will?
Thank you, Ayo. We head to the oil space where oil prices fell on Thursday after the U.S. and Iran agreed to hold talks in Oman on Friday, easing fears of a conflict that could disrupt Middle East supply. Brent crude dropped 2.56% to $67.68 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate fell 2.66% to $63.41. The talks will cover Iran's nuclear program and regional security. Analysts say the confirmation has reduced market uncertainty, though the risk of U.S. military action remains. About a fifth of global oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz. Prices were also supported by U.S. data showing declines in crude and distillate stocks amid winter storms. Now, Nigeria's economy kept up its growth momentum in January 2026, with the PMI rising to 55.7 points, and thus marking 14 months of consecutive expansion, and that's according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. The reading above the 50-point mark signals stronger output, demand, and business confidence across agriculture, industry, and services, with 31 of 36 subsectors reporting growth. Sector PMIs showed industry at 56 points, services at 54.5, and agriculture at 54.2, reflecting sustained demand and improving conditions across the economy. And more wins as the winning streak extends in the domestic equities markets. The all-share index hit a fresh new high today. John McQuarrie tells us more.
Everyone, welcome to the stock market report. It's still green sentiment at the NGX at the close of trade today. Investors have enough confidence to bring in money. Today they brought in about 1.2 trillion naira, and of course that has added to our market cap. We're at 109 trillion naira level, and for the very first time in history, the all-share hit 170,000 level. It's up 1.18%. A major driver of this today is Seplat. Seplat, which opened at 6,700, closed at 7,370. That's about 670 naira added to the stock in one day. What's driving this? Well, the last news we have about Seplat is Mr. Ilumelu being included on their board, and then a brilliant outing by Seplat CEO at the just concluded Energy Summit. Perhaps all of that is driving sentiments towards Seplat. But, well, let's look at other sectors and see what's going on. Banking is also up. Accessco has a bit of gains today, as well as Fesolco. These are two stocks that have been seeing a lot of profit taking, but banking is up 0.64%. Consumer is also up 0.11%. Dangote Sugar and Honeywell Flour contributed to this. Oil and gas, yes. Seplat obviously driving this, well, helped by O&O, and so it's 4.68%. So once again, I think that's all we've been doing this week. We've just been seeing the bull.
And that's business. I'm Willie Bung. It's back to Ayo for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has apologized to Jeffrey Epstein's victims. He expressed regret for believing Peter Mandelson's lies and appointing him as UK ambassador to the US in 2024. Here's Simon Puser with more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. China's leader Xi Jinping has called Taiwan the most important issue in China-US relations during a phone call with US President Donald Trump. Xi told Trump to be prudent when supplying weapons to the island, adding that he attached great importance to ties with Washington and hoped both sides would find ways to resolve their differences. Trump described the call as excellent and long and thorough. The call followed a flurry of visits by Western leaders, including the UK's Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, to China in recent months, hoping to reset relations with the world's second largest economy. Trump himself is due to visit China in April, a trip he said he very much looked forward to.
En Ukraine, officiellement sur le champ de bataille.
The number of Ukrainian soldiers killed on the battlefield in the 4-year war with Russia is 55,000, according to President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky announced the figure in an interview with France 2 TV. Additionally, a large number of people are considered officially missing, he said. While both Kyiv and Moscow have regularly published estimates of the other side's losses, they have been reluctant to detail their own. However, the names of almost 160,000 people killed fighting on Russia's side have been confirmed in Ukraine. US President Donald Trump has been leading efforts to end the war that began when Russia invaded in 2022.
I am sorry.
Keir Starmer has apologised to Jeffrey Epstein's victims and says he is sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies. He says he understands the anger and frustration of Labour MPs at his decision to appoint Peter Mandelson as US ambassador in 2024. The Prime Minister again accused Mandelson of lying during the vetting process, saying he gave the impression he barely knew the paedophile financier.
The information now available makes clear that the answers he gave were lies. He portrayed Epstein as someone he barely knew.
In emails to Epstein, he talked about the security apparatus that exists underneath number 10 and at the heart of Whitehall. That is information that is of national security importance.
An unknown number of aid workers are missing after airstrikes hit a hospital in South Sudan near the Ethiopian border. The hospital, run by medical charity Doctors Without Borders in Jonglei State, was hit in an airstrike by the government of South Sudan forces during the night on Tuesday, MSF said. The South Sudan government is yet to comment. There has been a resurgence in fighting in Jonglei State recently between government forces and those loyal to the first vice president. Police say a suspect has been identified over the disappearance of a 4-year-old boy who went missing in the South Australian outback. Gus Lamont was seen playing outside his home in a remote sheep station near Yunta, around 300 kilometres from Adelaide, on the 27th of September. His grandmother left him alone for about half an hour before checking on him, only to find the boy missing, prompting one of the largest land and air searches in the state's history. Police said a person who lives on the property had been identified as a suspect, but confirmed the boy's parents were not under investigation. A rare phantom jellyfish has been spotted by scientists exploring the deep sea near Argentina. Stygiomedusa gigantea, more commonly known as the giant phantom jellyfish, was filmed 250 metres below the surface in the South Atlantic Ocean. Scientists from the Schmidt Ocean Institute documented the creature, which can grow up to 1 metre in diameter, with their arms reaching up to 10 metres or 33 feet long. The team also discovered 28 potential new species, including coral, sea urchin and sea amoebas. And a teenager who struck lucky when he beat a hole-in-one golf challenge while on a gap year in New Zealand said the special feat, which won him thousands of New Zealand dollars, will help him treat himself and his friends on his travels. 18-year-old Luca Walton from Woking in England won 10,000 New Zealand dollars, or £4,400, by hitting a golf ball into a hole-in-one on a floating pontoon on Lake Taupo on New Zealand's North Island. Walton, who was on his gap year with friends before heading to university, said he was shocked after completing the challenge, which has only been won 14 times since 1993. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Eddie Simon, and welcome to Sports News. The DG of the National Institute for Sports, NIS Comrade Philip Shaibu, says he's excited to have successfully secured the Kaduna Zonal Office of the NIS during a courtesy visit to the Governor of the state, Uba Sani. The Kaduna office, according to the DG, will serve as a zonal center for the Northwest region. The part of the Governor, he assured the management of the NIS of the state's maximum cooperation and that the zonal office the NIS will be ready in 3 days. Chippa United have confirmed the departure of Super Eagles' first choice goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali, who has been released from the club following a mutual agreement. The 25-year-old shot-stopper who impressed for the Super Eagles and became one of the standout performers in the Premier Soccer League's exit is expected to spark immediate interest from Kaizer Chiefs, who have tracked him closely over the past 2 seasons. And Con Khalifa FC have made it a swift U-turn following earlier statement that it was withdrawing from the 2025-26 Nigeria Premier Football League in protest of unfair sanctions by the NPFL. In a new statement released earlier today, the CEO of the club, Michael Amefola, says the club is delighted at the constructive dialogue with the NPFL board and are happy to put the differences aside. Con Khalifa were sanctioned after failing to make the trip to Maiduguri for their match day 24 fixture against El Kanemi Warriors on February 2nd. And U.S. President J.D. Vance sought to put politics aside when he visited U.S. athletes preparing for the Winter Olympics in Italy earlier today. J.D. Vance arrived in Milan this morning with his wife and kids ahead of Friday's opening ceremony at Milan San Siro Stadium. Vance will meet with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni in Milan on Friday, according to an Italian government agenda. Well, that's your sports news tonight. I am Kelly. It's back to you today.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak today briefed President Bola Tinubu at the State House on the killings in Kaiama local government that claimed at least 75 lives. And U.S. President Donald Trump described Nigeria's First Lady, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, as a very respected woman when he singled her out at the 74th National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun, and do have a good night.